and gentlemen, please welcome Lee Evans.
Lee's Roadrunner tour will be his most ambitious to date, with over 65 nights at the biggest arenas in the country, playing to more fans than ever on this record-breaking tour of the UK and Ireland. But before Lee steps out on stage for the recording of the DVD at London's O2 Arena, we have to go back a year, when Lee starts getting ready to go out on a mammoth warm-up tour of smaller venues where his material is first performed. There's also the small matter of the photo shoot for the DVD cover to consider. It's at this point that producer Anthony and animator Tim first start work on Lee's concept for the animated title sequence, Jupitus Sweatius.
Mostly concerned about the fact that the script at the moment is 8 pages long, and we've got to get it down to about a minute. And Lee's sort of the mind that, you know, we've got to try and tell the story, which is the idea of two strains of evolution. Well, first of all, male strain, then the female strain, and then his strain whacking his head on the tree, and then obviously takes, you know, comedic turn. So that's the story, and there's loads of situations that happen thereafter, but it's way too long. So the whole point of doing an animatic is to sort of decide where the gags go, how to pace it properly, because it needs to run like a sort of Tex Avery cartoon, really. Very visual, you know, and obviously lots of Lee sort of isms in there. I kind of don't feel at liberty to make those editorial decisions, really, about which gags come out. I've got a suggestion about one of them, which will make it to say a bit quicker, but I think what we'll end up doing is doing the whole thing and then show it to the guys, and then we can decide where to cut it. Yeah, there are gags you could argue a duplication, and you might want to say turn 2 gags into 1, but that's not really my call. My call is to try and make this as funny as we can with what we've got, and, you know, at least the man. Well, 2 weeks we said to get an animatic done, and given that it is quite long, it's quite a, you know, that's quite a tall order, and also want to produce it in a way that it looks reasonably okay.
While Tim, the animation director, works on the title sequence over the next few months, Lee will be out around the country on his work-in-progress gigs. But even while he's out on tour, Lee's involved in every aspect of the show, and it's important that the set is exactly right for his performance.
Right, yeah. Yeah, that's better shape, isn't it? Because, you know, it's more... Because, you know, he sort of squared it off, didn't he, here? Yeah. But it's that's a really nice shape, that is. That's lovely.
Do you feel you're losing a bit too much? Are you happy with that?
Because that's been cut back as well.
Yeah, well, that's why I did it. I wanted to cut this back so I got more sort of leg room, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. So this is your sliding door.
And that's still corrugated, right?
That's still corrugated.
Yeah.
So when it's together, it'll just form a wall, but it's underlit with chroma bars.
Okay.
Right the way along.
Mm-hmm.
So everything's white, and then these are obviously the shapes changed.
I think it looks.
And that's underlit, and we're going to put a little underlight across these.
So it sort of floats, if you like.
And so this lighting here, what will it be under? A kind of collar, so you won't see it? I mean, will it be under sort of like a lip?
Yeah.
What was that? What would that look like lighting-wise? Do they need to be wider as well?
Put the columns at the back.
That's what these are for. These lights here will light up.
Right.
And the piano has to live there.
Yeah.
I mean, these are just...
Are you all right in getting that piano on in 20 seconds?
What my idea was with the piano is that in the 20 seconds, we open the doors, walk on with the piano. As we walk on with the piano, the doors close and the crew go off. That'll work in 20 seconds.
Right, and where are you proposing to put the piano? Because we want it right here.
Yeah, that's fine.
Right.
And then they come back off
They
this
come
way
back off
down
this
the
side,
tread.
down the off-stage tread.
Lee always writes musical numbers for the show, and on this tour he needs a piano that's specially made, and he's got to make sure the keyboard is in the right place.
I mean, the keyboard is a keyboard, isn't it? I mean,
yeah, but I mean, we're going to build it into that, so we can have his eyes.
It's just like 5 feet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I can tell you where I want it.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah. Okay. I just want it there, right there.
Excuse me.
Is that another B&Q tape measure you can
It is, yeah.
So in other words, the keys are there.
Yeah, 3 foot. Yep. Inside leg.
Yeah. So the keys are here.
Yeah, 3 foot. Okay.
Yeah. Is that good?
Yeah, that's fine.
So as Lee goes off to perform another warm-up gig in York, the set meeting has left him with a lot to consider. and the realisation that there's still plenty to do as the DVD record date gets ever closer.
It's getting scary now, it's getting nearer, isn't it?
It's all becoming real again.
It's all becoming technical, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like lights and, because all the planning stage was all meetings about, oh, could you do this and could you do that? And then they've done it, and now you think, oh dear, is it going to work?
Well, I think it's going to be brilliant, you know.
Oh, I hope so.
Meanwhile, after weeks of work on the animation, it's time for one of the country's most recognisable voices to record the voiceover for Lee's title sequence.
My name is Red Pepper. I'm a voiceover artist. And apparently I've got to do something spectacular for Lee Evans today, and I'm looking forward to it. I always wear my shades because I'm cool like that. Do you have pictures of this?
Not yet.
So I can kind of get an understanding of where you're going with it.
Yeah.
But,
Well, it's
okay.
Basically, it's man evolves into one way, which is normal man, and the other
Yeah.
one hits his head on a rock and becomes Lee, basically. So it evolves into Lee.
Well, if you can direct me with every paragraph, if I'm on the right vein of
course,
delivery,
yeah.
just let me know. If not, just say, no, we want it a bit more hammed up or whatever. Just guide me through.
I will do that.
Okay. Am I here to work? I guess so. Since the very dawn of time, primitive life forms began to evolve into humankind. At long last, man strode the earth, and so did woman. But the path of evolution was not smooth, because nature can be cruel, terribly cruel, producing a freak disaster known as Jupitus Sweatius. Ladies and humans, please welcome Lee Evans. Something like that. What you looking at?
It's now July, and Lee's been out on the road for months. And this is the first time he'll be shown the animatic with the voiceover. So Anthony and Tim travelled to Lee's gig at Southend-on-Sea to discuss the title sequence so far.
Well, basically, it's this storyboard
Yeah.
to the sound. So, so
Anthony.
there
That's
you
what
go.
it is. A
So in a
storyboard.
minute you can go back to this if it's easier to step through it in terms of breaking it down, but you can just watch it here. It's just as easy.
Okay.
Since the very dawn of time, primitive life forms began to evolve into humankind. At long last, man strode the earth.
Yeah, I mean, it's always good to introduce the character, the main character. And we have to find, now we've just introduced him, we introduce him as a complete idiot because he hits his head on the branch.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see him walking, we see a branch, bang! Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he just walks into it.
Right, okay.
So we can just take him through the ages, and then what we do is we close in on his face, and then we morph into my face, and then we come back out, and then you see us walk on stage. But it's nice to get that music, that lumbering introduction to your character. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you can loop it as much as you like after that, but I'll still go away and make that music
Move.
yeah, because I don't like looping. I like to let the music go somewhere. So
Yeah.
I can spend a few days in my studio and sort of get the music right, and we can have a proper... Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. All right. Good then. We're done, aren't we?
Brilliant.
Nice one.
I think we're getting there, aren't we?
Yeah, yeah. So I'll do another version of this with all those things in mind, and then get it to you next week, and then
Whack it over and then
we'll
Next week?
Well, that
Yeah.
animatically.
But I mean,
Animatic,
I mean, even that's still quite a feat, isn't it?
Well, yeah, we can't really. I don't want to get into animation before we've got an agreement.
Sign
on
off.
this
Is that how it
stage.
works?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because changing things after this point a bit more for the pain in the bum.
Well, yeah.
So it's much better to get all the sort of editorial stuff dealt with at this stage
Yeah.
before we go into animation.
Yeah.
So it'd be good if we could just get those few
Yeah.
things nailed.
The O2 record day is getting closer, and the ending for the animated title sequence has to be filmed. Lee needs to morph from his Jupitus Sweatius character into a live action shot of him walking and banging his head on a door frame, and the timings and shot size have to be spot on to fit the screen at the O2 Arena.
Oh, so you're morphing from the cartoon to...
So it's just there, which will take on the dolly.
Nothing is clearer, and I wonder How did my life get to this?
By then, we might be into the countryside and working out and thinking.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome.
With only a few weeks left to go, Tim is working flat out building the animation, bringing all the elements together for the finished title sequence.
This week and the next week, we're spending all the time preparing for the animation proper. So we're bringing in lots of drawn elements. So, for example, fire is something you can't really do very well in a cut-out methodology. So we're drawing all the fire stuff. So here's an example where the fire spreads from the campfire, where Lee's trying to set set this guy alight, and instead it lights up the tree. So this stuff's just a line test, just to show what we're up to. Obviously, it's just drawn animation at the moment. So one of the things we're keen to do is to give it a real sumptuous look, you know, so we'll put with optical effects. So in After Effects, you see these glows off of
Since the very dawn.
the glows off of the sun. Something we're really keen to do, and obviously as that's happening, this shadow's going to grow. That's not on there yet. We'll probably get some more shadows to appear off these rocks, and this is going to bounce into position. But there's a lot to play with, and we want it to look as sumptuous as we can. Well, we've got a team of 8 people working pretty much flat out. So there's one guy specifically working on backgrounds. There's about 4 guys working on character rigging, 2 guys working on drawn animation, and 1 guy working on pulling the After Effects work together, and an art director, Gareth. So there's quite a lot going on. This is the love scene at where he's built this rock lady, and you initially think that it's a very lovely sort of romantic moment, and he kisses his girl, and the head rolls up into the foreground. So the rock woman, we're just still working on the look for her. Got the nighttime palette to consider. So this is Lee through the ages, you know, the bit where it's going through time. There's a little clock underneath. I like this one with the pig. We'll probably have a bit of flexibility there. So yeah, we've got a limited amount of time, so we've only really got to the end of perhaps this week to get all the artwork completed so that we can get the animation going, really.
While Tim is getting the title sequence ready for the final audio dub, the DVD production team are doing some final checks at the O2 Arena. They're making sure that all the lighting and set construction can go ahead without any problems, and that all the cameras are in the right positions.
Was not smooth.
While the crew are at the O2, the finishing touches are made to the title sequence. It finally goes to the audio dub, so all the music and sound effects can be finished ready for the day of the show.
Forgot. Don't laugh.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Lee Evans.
It's September 2011 and the DVD record day has finally arrived. It's been many months of hard work. Lee and the production team have had countless meetings and worked hundreds of hours getting ready for this show.
I wake in the morning and I open my eyes and I look out the
Lee's played hundreds of gigs across Breton and Ireland, performing and fine-tuning his material. And as the final rehearsals take place, the fans arrive in their thousands to enjoy his biggest show to date. And the first thing they'll see is Lee's animated title sequence.